Howdy, howdy, it's Trishaly. I am at the Red Rock Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm excited to welcome you to my 100 videos in 72-hour challenge where I'm describing my journey of surviving domestic abuse. And so in the last video I told you about the very last time that I ever saw my abuser, which was at the courthouse, where I had been subpoenaed to testify against him for assault charges that I had laid many years previous. He had fled to Vancouver to avoid those charges, and when he returned to Alberta, he was picked up and also told to be at court. I ended up not having to testify because he ended up pleading guilty, but prior to this court date, I did at one point, throughout the 16 years since I freed myself from that relationship, he had phoned my parents on several occasions and left them nasty messages. Usually he was drunk when he would call and say, like, and he was, I remember my dad telling me about one message he left where he was saying how I ruined his life and this and that, and how I was keeping his son away from him, and like what a horrible person I was, etc., and that kind of thing. But at one point, prior to the last time seeing him in court, he had somehow managed to get my telephone number. And I can remember handing the phone to my son, who I believe was about 4 or 5 years old at the time, probably about 5. And I couldn't hear what he was saying to him, but I knew what he was saying to him because my son kept on repeating, "She doesn't have one, she doesn't have one." So basically, instead of getting to know his son during the telephone call and asking him about his life, he was busy pumping my son for information about me. And the question he was being asked is, "Tell me about your mom's boyfriend. I want to know about your mom's boyfriend." And he kept saying, repeating, I could just hear him on the phone repeating, "She doesn't have one, she doesn't have one." And my son, who is 16 now, and he's an amazing boy, he has no recollection of that phone call or any contact with his biological father. However, being a single mom for about 5 years, I did explain to him, basically I explained that your father was mean to us, and that's why I didn't get into details. More recently, I've told him some of the particulars of the abuse that occurred, but at that time I just left it at, when he was quite little, that, you know, your father was mean to us, and that's why we're not with him. And he could phone you, send you a birthday card, request to come and see you anytime that he wanted, and I would not rob you of the experience of getting to know your biological father. If he were to show up and be interested in building a relationship with you, I wouldn't have had a problem with that, but he never did. All the phone calls that he made were basically directed towards bashing me, and the messages that he had left were all about saying what a terrible person I was. It wasn't really about wanting to get to know his son, and so they don't have a relationship at all. Maybe at some point, now that he's kind of grown up, he may pursue finding him and learning about him, which I did too. I went and met my biological father, who had abused my mom and actually abused me when I was a tiny baby, but that's another story for another day. It's on my blog if you really want to know. There's quite a few videos describing that experience that I don't even remember of child abuse, but anyway, that's beside the point. So stay tuned for the next video. In these last few videos, I'm going to be sharing with you all the things that I've learned that can help you to escape an abusive relationship if you're involved in one, or help you to support somebody else in your life who may be suffering in an abusive relationship right now. So stay tuned for those videos. Go out there and have an amazing, beautiful day. And if I don't, I want everybody out there to know that I'm a firm believer that in this life, absolutely anybody can be, do, and have anything they want, or we can have everything we want. And I choose everything, and I hope you will too, because you can. So ask me how, and if I don't see you in the future, I'll see you out in the pasture next week or on the next video. Bye, y'all.